Alright, let's just go for it. So Pokemon Go took what was once a dense RPG, stripped it down to its base parts where you had basically one interaction, swiping to collect Pokemon. With Super Mario Run, Nintendo took the most recognized game franchise in the world and condensed it to suit mobile devices. The Endless Runner had a simple tap-to-jump mechanic, and it just encapsulated the essence of Mario, the one thing that he needs to do: move to the right and jump. It completely adapted to the new medium. So, I want to know, what would it look like if Nintendo took the epic series of The Legend of Zelda, its cunning swordplay, environmental puzzles, and spectacular adventures, and reshaped it into its most fundamental parts? The Zelda series is a great example of how a thing can keep its identity, but completely reinvent itself. There's an extensive library of just stuff, items, weapons, characters, worlds, and usually each title has its own unique gameplay mechanic that's specific to that title. With such a deep well to draw from, it's a little daunting to try to give the series a minimalist treatment, but I'm gonna do it anyway. So starting with the blank canvas, what is the essence of the franchise? What do you need to make a Zelda game? If somebody asks you, okay, what's in Zelda? You'd be like, well, there's Princess Zelda, Obvi, then Link in a green tunic. Link has a Master Sword, except Link isn't always in green, and he also doesn't always start with the Master Sword. And sometimes Zelda is, spoilers, chic, and sometimes she's a kid, and Link's a kid. And then you need Zoras, Gorons, Gerudo, of course Ganon or Ganondorf. Then Link usually has a companion like Navi, Fi, Midna. Oh, sometimes Link's a wolf. Sometimes his companion is him as a wolf. One time his best friend was a boat. Then there's the Yiga clan, the Lionels, can't forget Epona. Then Malon, I think she's Epona's mom. Bottles, big fairies, little fairies, little fairies. The big fairies give you to keep in the bottles. But that's all just stuff. I'm gonna blow your mind, okay? That's not what Zelda is. Okay, so track with me a second. We're gonna get into like the super nerdy lore stuff, but listen, it's important for our purposes of making a fun little game. Are we putting a bunch of story in a game that you want to play for, 30 seconds and then put back in your pocket? No, but just the Triforce is a vastly important part of the overarching story. Its three attributes are power, wisdom, and courage. These traits are echoed in multiple ways throughout the series. The creators of Hyrule, Din, Nehru, and Furore are associated with power, wisdom, and courage, respectively, along with their domains that usually consist of fire, ice, and forest. The antagonist, Ganon, has the Triforce of power. That's how he does his evil stuff. Princess Zelda bears the Triforce of wisdom and is descended from Nehru, and she's like a goddess reincarnate, and she's smart. So then there's the hero, Link, and he has the Triforce of courage, and Link just doesn't give it, allowing him to complete his epic adventure in the face of just constant threats and things like flowers try to eat him and stuff. But he's like, no man, I'm cool, I got this. Okay, so these themes, power, wisdom, and courage, why are they important to us? I don't think they're just plot devices. When I started thinking about it, and what is Zelda? It's combat, it's puzzles, and exploration. And then I put it all together. The Triforce is the template. I don't care if he's cutting the grass or cutting down Ganon. Link's relationship with the sword has always been a major part of both the story and the gameplay. Sometimes, maybe even to a fault. Link also commonly uses a bow. Not to mention he's got a pouch full of other weapons, but the bow and certainly the sword should be included. That'll bring us the power part, and therefore the foundation of the combat. Zelda is crammed full of environmental puzzles. They're to give bonuses and to further progression. I hate to use this word, but it's often organic. The puzzles are a part of the space that you're in. And the challenges, therefore, can be spatial. They can be logical. You might have to solve a riddle or listen to an NPC, which that it's the worst, but I do like solving things, so I'll listen to them. Sometimes you just have to think outside the box. Bottom line is, I just love this stuff. It just makes me feel like I'm being smart. I mean, it's like straight up Dr. House. I mean, you could play this game. You could just be like, I'm not saving people. I like solving the puzzles because I'm Dr. House and I'm gonna be a jerk. Our boy Link has explored some beautiful and strange places. From the deepest sea to far above the clouds, dry deserts, snow-peaked mountains, ancient temples, and alternate realms. Without question, my favorite thing about Zelda is the adventure. So, whatever we do, however we design this, it's got to have that adventure component. Alright, so for our hypothetical game here, how can we incorporate the Triforce of power, wisdom, and courage, condense them into a satisfying, bite-sized experience that you're gonna play for like a minute, put it in your pocket, and the next time you pull it out, you're like, yes, Zelda is in my pocket. Alright, here's how I'd do it. So what would we see? One solution would be a horizontal layout with virtual controls. But on-screen analog sticks, it's just not good design. It shoehorns in controls that don't fit the medium. Let's assume they'll use a vertical viewpoint again like they did with Mario Run and Fire Emblem Heroes. Now let's put a HUD at the top. We'll need hearts, rupees, standard Zelda stuff. Now let's add our viewpoint into Hyrule. Oops, that's DLC right there. And of course, we've got to have our hero of legend, Link. Now, to incorporate our Triforce of power, let's add some enemies. And something for Link to protect himself. Alright, so we can use taps to have Link swipe the sword. But how do we get over to the enemies? As I said, I don't think a virtual control stick is the right answer. That's just not good design. It's making the platform something that it's not. So instead, what if we used a tap and drag maneuver? Link also happens to dabble in archery. And he can be a bit of a pyro. Real nice. Alright, now let's tease our brains and show some wisdom. So now we find ourselves in what looks to be a forest temple. We got 3 orbs there on the right. I can actually reach one, so I'm dying to see what happens when I hit it with my sword. So that did nothing. Let's see if we can get any clues. Look at these candelabras on the left. They're kind of weird. The top one has 1 candle, the middle has 3, the bottom... Oh yeah! Alright, so... Let's see, that makes the bottom number 2. Now, Link is missing something he almost always carries. Remember how I said he's a pyro? He's got a bag of bombs. He just has a bag of bombs. And we're all just okay with it. Now, you can take out that junk between us and the 3rd orb. With an arrow. Boom! And we're in. People love Zelda for a lot of reasons, but most of all, I play Zelda for the sense of adventure, for the feeling of cresting a hill to see some gorgeous goal in the distance. You don't know how you're gonna get there, but daggone it, you're gonna find a way. You've probably heard how Shigeru Miyamoto was inspired by his outdoor boyhood adventures around Kyoto. That's how Zelda has tried to tap into that epic sense of exploration. It's why Breath of the Wild finally succeeded. So in our stripped-down, condensed version of Hyrule, where we don't have a good method to move the character, how do we get that open-air feeling? So as you know, with Pokemon Go, physically walking around the real world uncovers Pokemon to catch in the game world. I think our Zelda game could use this mechanic to uncover areas of the map. As you open up new areas, you simply tap on them and you open a playable scene. This could be randomized, so you get a good variety of locations. But what if the large dungeons were actually tied to real-world locations? So how cool would it be to unlock a fire dungeon if you happen to be near a volcano? Or a water dungeon when you're near the beach? Live near a forest, in the snow, the desert? What if you unlocked a sanctuary or a castle? And wouldn't it be full circle if you could make it to Kyoto someday and explore the land that actually breathed the inspiration into this series? I think it sounds delicious. Alright, ladies and gents, be someone's hero today. Alright, I'm out.